Hello dear friends. Now we will see the exercise example number 1 from the given textbook. In textbook in example number 1 we are given some figures or some circuit arrangements, and we are asked to find out the predict the direction of the induced current in the situation described by the following figures. Now we are given 6 figures from A to F. Now we will try to solve these conditions. So as we go with that, first figure that is shown, that is A. In figure A, we are given a coil that is PQR and a magnet or a small bar magnet whose south pole is approaching the coil. So as the south pole of the magnet approaches the coil, by Lenz's law, the induced current in the coil develops S pole at the end Q. For the induced current should follow that clockwise path, and then we can say that when seen from the magnet side, and hence the induced current flows along QRPQ. So the first case, the direction of the current will be from QRPQ, that is from the point of view of the magnet. So that will be the direction of QRPQ, that will be the direction in the first case. Now in figure B, we are given two coils PQR and XYZ with a magnet. So as the magnet is moved, the south pole moves towards PQ. So south pole is moving towards PQ and its north pole moves away from the XY coil. So by Lenz's law, the induced current should develop S pole at the end of Q and also the S pole at the end of X, because as it is approaching PQ, then it should repel, but as north pole is leaving XY, so it should be attracted. So in both the case there should be S pole developed, and therefore this current in two coils should follow clockwise path when seen from the magnet side, and hence the induced current flows in left coil, that is PRQ, that is path PRQ will be here. So here the path will be PRQ in this case, while in this case it should be in the direction YZX. So here the direction of electric current for the predicted figure 1 and 2. Now figure 3, that is figure C, as shown in the circuit of the left loop is completed. Current flows in the direction of arrows shown. This current develops south polarity on the side of right loop, and the induced current should flow clockwise when C from left part in the right loop, so as to oppose the growth of current in left loop, and hence the induced current flows along YZX. So the current will be like YZX. So here in this case the direction of the current would be, that is YZX, like this. Okay, so this is from the loop side. Our phase is like south pole, so the next part of the ring will be north pole, and therefore north pole should repel, and so it develops a north pole or a anti-clockwise direction current. Now we will see figure D. Now in figure D it is shown that the rheostat is adjusted. Here in this portion we can say that this is the part of rheostat that we can adjust. So the part of the rheostat is adjusted, and we can say the resistance decreases and current increases. This increases the flux through the neighboring coil. Now by Lenz's law rule, we can say that increase of flux should be opposed, and therefore the induced current should produce flux in the opposite direction of the original flux, and therefore hence the induced current flows along the path, that is ZYX. So it should follow the path that is Z, Y, X in this circuit. So our predicted current would be in the ZYX path like this. Here it is around YZX, that is anti-clockwise path. So we can explain this over here. Now, the next two figure, that is figure E and figure F. Now in figure E, as the circuit breaks, the flux decreases. It is clear that we are going to open the circuit. Here they have shown that this portion, that means circuit got break. Initially it was connected, then we open. As we open the circuit, the flux decreases. The induced current should flow along XRY to supplement the flux. So here in this case, current will flow, that is from XRY path. So that will be XRY, and current will flow in the direction that is XRY path. That will produce the supplement part of it. Now we will see the figure F. Now in figure F, it is shown that current I is decreasing at a steady rate. As the circular field lines set up around the current carrying wire lie in the plane of the loop, the flux threading the coil in the perpendicular direction is always zero, and therefore any change in current will not change this flux, and hence no induced current is set up in the coil. So we can say that there will be no induced current. There will be no induced current in this case. So we can explain this is, there is no induced current that will develop over here. So this is your example number 1 from the textbook. Now let's go to example number 2. Now what is given there in your example number 2? So first of all, we will consider the condition, that is example number 2, and what are given that in that case. Here in example number 2, we are given that use Lenz's law to determine the direction of induced current in the situation described. Again we have to do the same type of thing. Here also we are given figures and we are given some situation. Here the magnetic field is considered inside, uniform and moving inside in figure 1. They have given the random shape of the figure and they have shown that one random shape coil, that is A, B, C, D, that is coil part A, B, C, D is lying there, and also consider that the part C and part A are moving according to this. Now question 1, this is your figure A. What does this indicate? It shows that a wire of irregular shape turning into a circular shape. So this portion, when open up, it is converted into a circular shape. That is our question. So now how the current will induce? As the loop changes from irregular to the circular shape, its area increases. Hence the magnetic flux link with it, that will also increases. According to Lenz's law, the induced current should produce magnetic flux in the opposite direction of the original flux, and for this induced current should flow in the anti-clockwise direction, that is ADCB path. So obviously here we will get the current that is anti-clockwise, that is here it will be anti-clockwise on the path A, D, C, B. Now we will move to the next figure. In the next figure 2, the magnetic field is again uniform, but it is coming outside from the plane. We consider here another interesting thing, that we are provided a circular coil. So a circular loop being deformed into a narrow straight wire, and we are given a part that is A, B, C and D. So A, B, C, D is given, and this part is compressed. As per as the information we are given, that it is compressed from all the directions and converted into a narrow strip like this. It is converted into a narrow wire with giving a name that is A dash, B dash, C dash and D dash, that is in outer part. So we have to just get again the condition that is regarding our figure B. As the circular loop is transformed into a narrow wire, its area decreases. The magnetic flux link with it also decreases. That is very clear that by Lenz's law, the induced current should produce a flux in the direction of original flux. For this, the induced current should flow in the anti-clockwise direction, and that is again A dash, D dash, C dash, B dash. So here also it is A dash, D dash, C dash, B dash, that is a new arrangement of a wire. So this would be the direction of the current or induced EMF that we will observe. Now we will move to the example number 4. Now in this example number 4, they have provided us a certain information. A rectangular wire loop of side 8 cm and 2 cm. So here we can say that the length is about 8 cm. Let us say L1, that is 8 cm, and this L2 is say 2 cm. So a rectangular wire loop of side 8 cm and 2 cm with small cut in moving out from a region of uniform magnetic field of magnitude 0.3 Tesla. So here we are given a magnetic field that is with value 0.3 Tesla. This we will consider as a uniform magnetic field. Here we will consider it like in this way. This is uniform magnetic field. Now here it is given that the magnetic field value B is 0.3 Tesla. It is value. Now directed normal to the loop, what is the EMF developed across the cut in the velocity of the loop is 1 centimeter per second. So the velocity is given 1 centimeter per second in a direction normal to the longer side and shorter side of the loop. Okay, so we are given here that once suppose we consider this loop is going or moving in this direction outward. This is your case A. We consider this as a case A, and in other condition it is moving in this way, that is your case B, with certain velocity 1 centimeter per second. So here whatever the conditions are provided, we follow the given condition. As there is a given condition with value. Our example number 4 is there. We are calculating example exercise example number 4. The previous one was example number 2. Now we are considering example number 4 on the basis of figure given. So now here everything that is we converted into MKS system or SI system. So V is 1 centimeter per second can be written as 0.01 meter per second. So this is the condition. Now length is given 8 centimeter, so it can be converted into 0.08 meter, and L2, that is another breadth that is given 2 centimeter, that can be written as 0.02 meter. So these are the given condition for the examples. Now we will calculate first case, that is your case A, when longer side is going out. So as per as EMF we have the equation that is B V L. First of all, that 8 centimeter part is moving, so magnetic field is fixed, that is 0.03. Velocity is fixed, that is 0.01, but here length that will be 0.08. So that longer side will have length L1. So here we can say that EMF produced in case 1, that is BVL1, and that will comes out to be about 2.4, that is 8 threes are 2.4 into 10 raised to minus 4 volt. So this is the part 1. Now in second question they have given that shorter side is moving. Now for the first case, if we take the time for which EMF lasts, obviously it will only last up to its breadth. So if its breadth is of 2 centimeter, then we can say that the subsequent part of the question, that time for which EMF lasts, that is time is equals to length upon velocity. So here length upon velocity, here the remaining length will be that point 0.02 upon this is 0.01, so it will last up to 2 seconds. Obviously it is clear that when this coil is moving in upward direction, it has only 2 centimeter that will remain in the magnetic field anytime, and therefore it will last only up to 2 seconds. But here now in the case number 2, this will be a little bit interesting part, that in case number B we are given that EMF. First of all we will find that EMF along with shorter side, so that will be BVL2. We can have all the terms, that is 0.03, velocity that is 0.01, and length that is 0.02. So ultimately this EMF will be very small, that is 0.6 into 10 raised to minus 4 volt. Now this is the value of EMF. Now again, how much time it will last? So for that also, time 2 for the equation, that is L1 upon V, as it will move from left to right, so that is about 8 seconds. So this is also visible that when object will move from left to right, or as indicated in a B, it will move from magnet. So it has a length of 8 centimeter from left to right, and therefore when it will move, it will last for 8 seconds because it will have more time in the field. So that will be the part of the question number 4. Now we will move to the next part. Hello dear friends. Now we will see example number 6 of exercise. Now in this example we are given that a circular coil of radius 8 centimeter and 20 tons rotates about its vertical diameter with an angular speed of 50 radian per second in a uniform horizontal magnetic field of magnitude 3 into 10 raised to minus 2 Tesla. So here with the blue color I have shown the coil of radius 8 centimeter and 20 tons, and it is about having a speed of 50 radian per second. Now the magnetic field, that is uniform magnetic field, horizontal magnetic field, is given as a 3 into 10 raised to minus 2 Tesla in the given region. We have to obtain the maximum and average EMF that is induced in this circuit. So now what will be our step for that maximum EMF or that maximum the EMF induced? So E0 is equals to N A B omega. Now this is we have E0 is equals to, for that N, that we can say that N number of turns are there, they are given as a 20. Then A can be written as pi r square, B is given, and omega is also provided. So here we will put the number of turns, that is 20, pi value, that is 3.14, radius, that is 8 centimeter, so I can put it here as 0.08 square. Magnetic field is given 0.3 Tesla, and omega is given 50 radian per second. So if we put all the values as given term, what we will get as a whole result, that is 0.603 volt. So this is the overall maximum EMF in the given circuit. Now as we have the equation, that we know that actual EMF in this circuit is given by the equation that EMF E is equals to E0 sine omega t. Now as far as this equation is concerned, we have that this is a sinusoidal equation. If this is a sinusoidal equation, then it will have a cyclic way, and therefore average EMF as a whole of this circuit, that is E average, will be 0 for the cyclic path. So for whole cycle, when we derive it, we will have 0 value for this condition. Now we are also asked to find out maximum current in the circuit. Now for the maximum current, we must follow the maximum EMF, and we are also provided that value of resistance. So if we are given resistance as a 10 ohm, I can say that maximum current is equals to maximum EMF over R, and that is E0, that is 0.603 that we have developed over here, and that resistance R is 10. that is given over here. So ultimately we can give it as 0.0603. So that will be the total current passing through the circuit. We can also write it as 60.3 milliampere. So this is also the current. Tentatively 60 milliampere current is flowing through the circuit. Now the interesting part, that is we are asked to find out the average power dissipated. Now average power dissipated means the condition 1 and condition 2. So we have here two different conditions. Now for that two condition, we say that P average or average power, that is power loss, is given by power 1 plus power 2, and that average, that is by 2. Now here initially we can say that average EMF is 0, but we have some value of maximum current and maximum EMF. So in that condition we have that power dissipated in average term is given by 1 by 2. One is 0, but another will be there, that is E square by R or E0 square by R as per as ohms joule heating. So we can ultimately write this is 1 by 2 E0 square over R. Now what is the condition for E0 square that we have? This is equals to 1 by 2 E0 square that we have already obtained, that is 0.603 whole square over 10, and therefore we are getting the result, ultimate result, that is 0.018 watt. This is power, and therefore the result or the average power that we get over here is obtained by the formula shown over here. This is the external agent which keeps the coil rotating. So that is the case. Hello friends, before going to example number 7, first of all we will learn a new rule that is called Fleming's right hand rule. As per as Fleming right hand rule says that the direction of induced current when a conductor attached to a circuit moves in a magnetic field, it can be used to determine the direction of current in a generator winding. It shows that if the motion is in the direction of the thumb and magnetic field is in the direction of the pointer finger, then the current induced will be in the direction as it is shown in as big man. So now I can explain the example number 7. In example number 7 it is given that a horizontal straight wire that is 10-meter long extending from east to west is falling with speed of 5 meter per second. So here in this case we are given a length, that length is 10-meter long, and then we are given a speed that is 5 meter per second. So length is given, that is 10 meter, and speed is given, that is 5 meter per second. Now at right angles to the horizontal component of Earth's magnetic field, and that magnetic field is given, that is B, that is 0.3 into 10 raised to minus 4 Weber per meter square. So it is given as magnetic field also. So first of all we are asked to find out what is the instantaneous value of EMF induced in the wire. So the first case we have to find out the EMF, that is BVL. Now B is provided, V is provided, and as L is also provided, we can calculate, that is 0.3 into 10 raised to minus 4. Velocity is also given, that is 5, and length is given, that is 10 meter. So ultimately EMF is obtained here, that is 1.5 into 10 raised to minus 3 volt. or we can say that it is 1.5 millivolt. So the first part is obtained over here. Now the second part, that is the direction of induced EMF. We are asked that what is the direction of the EMF. As we can say that here, according to Fleming's right hand rule as shown in the figure above, we can say that the direction of induced EMF is from west to east from this given condition, as EMF is also in the direction of electric current. And the three thing, that is question number third, that is which end of the wire is at higher potential. So obviously, if the direction of induced EMF from west to east, so the west end of the wire must be at a higher potential as given in the condition. So here we can say that the direction, that is west to east, so we can say that it is from west to east, and obviously from that current is always flowing from higher potential to lower potential, so west end would be at higher potential. So that is the question, example number 7 from the figure and the book.